It's been about a month. Well, actually, I think it's like just 1 week shy of a month. Think about it.
We needed to break. We definitely needed to break. You know what I'm saying? For everybody's been busy with something, and it's been. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this camera off because I don't want to slow down any interference or anything. So that. All right, so that should be better. You guys hear me loud and clear, right?
Yeah.
Yep,
yeah.
I hear you fine.
All right.
We'll let you know if you start botting.
All right, cool. Hopefully I don't, because I got all this new internet service, so when it comes to botting anymore. I'm working on building a PC, which I'm kind of excited about. And hope we can get that PC. I can get that PC built because I'm trying to work on to talk a little bit about today and stuff like that. And we got a lot of feedback for people interested in hanging and not hanging out, but joining TIC and stuff like that. So I'm excited about that too, and I'll talk to you guys about that after the show. But listen, man, I want to thank everybody for stopping out. Greatly appreciate you guys. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. It is 2018, a new year for Xbox, and this is a great time to try to, I won't say wipe the slate clean, but 2017 is behind us with a fresh year ahead of us. It gives us an opportunity to look at what Microsoft is going to be putting out for the rest of the year. And hopefully, based on what we've been hearing the last couple of days, it's really, really good. Before we hop into that, though, if we have some new listeners, because I know we got a bunch of new people on the Twitter feed, or new viewers or whatever, I want to try to get everybody to know who we are as a team, the Trinity of Tick Podcasts, and give everybody some familiarity with how you guys came up with your name and kind of what it represents for yourself as a podcast and just as a tag, I guess, in a way. So Anchor, let's start with you, man. What made you decide to come up with the name Anchorman V?
Well, it's a long story. Back when I started doing Xbox back in it was 2011. My first gamer tag, I tried to think of the most random things of all time, and I thought of Zombie Kiwi 23, and it was the most random thing I could think of at the time, and I had that for a little bit, and I kind of went through a bunch of little short phases, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be CTG Romulus. And I'm gonna be it was Churchill for a little bit, and so that was kind of what I was. I stayed Romulus for a couple of years, but eventually I was like, you know what, I don't want to be in the R's,
Right.
And I was like I wanted to think of something different, something that would look good, something that would look unique on on paper, and so I toyed around with it. I remember having the option. I was like, okay, I could be Anchorman, just plain Anchorman, or I could be the Anchorman V. And I was like, the Anchorman V would look so good. Like, you got killed by the Anchorman V. And the point of the V was I thought it was like a Roman numeral or something like that. It would actually kind of be pointing down on a lobby board. It's like, look who's below me. And then eventually I changed it up a little bit just to do Anchorman V2, and that was a simpler one. So and also on the friends list I pop up to the A's instead of just being in the T's.
Right. I got you. B Money 101.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I kind of got my name like as a young kid, man. My first name is Brandon. And my mom is a doctor, so going to school and whatnot. Like I was always a kid that had money or was always doing extra stuff. You know what I mean? So people always would just call me. That's the kid with the money. That's the kid with the money. You know what I mean? You always got the flashy shoes. You know what I mean? Outfits. So everybody thought I was a spoiled kid at school. So everybody just started calling me B. You know what I mean? B Money. And then I was really like just into school, really into my schoolwork and whatnot. So that's where the 101 came from. You know what I mean? I just was super into school. You know what I mean? I always got straight A's, kind of averaged a 3.8 at school. And then, you know, went on to college to kind of do the same thing. So that's where the 101 came from. And then like early 2000s, maybe like when, you know, when everybody was wearing like those name belts and whatnot, my girl had got me one. But, you know what I mean, to fill out B Money, you know what I mean, the normal way, so MONEY, like the belt buckle was like going to be too big.
Too long. Yeah. I feel you. I got you.
So like she shortened it up like on the belt buckle. So it just had the MUNY and just had the B. So like that kind of just stuck. And I just kind of switched it to that. So B Money 101. And that's how the name came about, man.
That's what's up, man. That is what is up, bro. Those are really cool stories. Mine is actually when we first started Tick Podcast, I had the name Straight Murder for the longest time, like probably when I first started Xbox. And we started this podcast, and I remember one of the fans, this is like early 2014, one of the guys listening to the show was like, yo, you know, you guys had Phil Spencer on the show and you guys are doing these things, stuff like that. You should really change your name. And I was like, man, like, man, nobody care about what you talk about. I had this name forever, and it's only a gamer tag. It's not that serious, whatever, and stuff like that. But in the end, it kind of really had me thinking. Like, it really made me think about, you know, me trying to present this show in a way where I could try to reach a broader audience of people, you know, maybe not just the guys that are hardcore, but maybe some kid that's like 13 or 14 years old or 12 or something like that, maybe listening to the show one day and then tells his mom, like, yeah, Mom, I listen to Straight Murder all the time. And, you know how it is with parents. They'd be like, what, Straight Murder? What is murder? What is this you're listening to? And stuff. So as a big Superman fan, my son, when I had my first son, I convinced my wife to allow me to name him after Superman. How I got that, I don't know. She's a great woman, and I'm greatly appreciative of that. So, you know, my son's middle name is Kal-El. And as a Superman fan, one of my favorite heroes of all time, I decided that I'd rather go with Kal-El. Obviously, I'm big into anime as well. And I love, you know, Dragon Ball and all those characters and stuff like that. But Kal-El just seemed more simplistic and more realistic as a name. And it's something that I think a lot of people either have heard or have not heard. You know what I'm saying? It's not so much, oh, I'm Superman, but, you know, Kal-El, which is like the actual, you know, the Kryptonian himself, more than Clark Kent, but the actual alien himself or whatever. So, you know, I decided to go with that name and just switch it up. I felt it was probably easier to roll off the tongue. It was a little bit more people friendly and just easier for executives and devs to deal with than Straight Murder, you know, mainly. So it's just funny hearing these stories of how we got these names and everything like that. And we're here today after all these years. And it's really awesome that the team is together for 2018. So let's get the show started. We got a lot to talk about. I want to thank everybody for stopping in. Greatly appreciate the support. Make sure you guys give us a thumbs up, basically a like, which we greatly appreciate, and share out to your friends. And we're going to talk about Xbox because we got a lot to talk about. So here we go. Welcome to the Inner Circle Podcast, the premier podcast for Xbox One. I'm your host, KLYX Kal-El, with B Money 101.
Yo, what's going on, everybody?
And Anchorman V.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the show.
And we are your Inner Circle. So listen, man, Microsoft is, you know, we killed them last year in 2017. Let's just keep it honest. A lot of people didn't like what they delivered in 2017, but I think they're starting off 2018 right. Like, I'm super hyped. I'm super energetic. You know what I'm saying? I just finished playing Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Fighters beta not too long ago before getting kicked for server maintenance and getting my butt handed to me because it took me a while to find the training area. But I'm just glad this game is on Xbox. Not to say that any other Dragon Ball game wasn't on Xbox before, but, you know, a game like Blaze Blue, which is like synonymous with PlayStation in a way, I guess you can say, it, you know, from Arc Systems, it's weird to see a game from them on the Xbox platform. And I'm like, was really excited to see this game at E3 last year and glad now that it's on Xbox. Then on top of that, on the same day, on January 26th, on the same day, Monster Hunter World comes out. That has me super hyped as well, because I finally get a chance to play Monster Hunter for the first time, and I get the chance to play it enhanced on the Xbox One X. So definitely excited about that as well. But drop PUBG. And, you know, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds did not get the greatest reception. A lot of people sort of, I guess you could say, downplayed the game. We spoke about it, and, you know, we said that they it as this big title, but you also have to keep in mind that even though they advertise it as a big title because it's a big game on PC, they also mentioned it was coming to preview multiple times and that the game was a work in progress. So it's hard that so many people probably missed out on it. At the end of the day, though, it doesn't matter. On fire. And you have people saying that, you know, they felt that it wasn't going to be a success, that it was going to be a failure. I think not. 3 million people or have either played, have signed up, or the PlayerUnknown's Battleground preview game at this moment, or they've had up to 3 million people. And that's huge. That's big. You know, people want to use excuses about whether they're game sharing, whether people are coming over and playing co-op together. Whatever the deal is, 3 million people are on Xbox. And in my opinion, that's huge considering the game just came out midway through December, and we're not even midway through January. In less than 3 weeks, this damn thing has, or less than 4 weeks, this damn thing has reached 3 million gamers or 3 million players on their servers. And I just think that's a really big deal. And the game constantly gets better and better and better. And it looks like Microsoft's going to have this game for a pretty long time before it moves on to any platform. I mean, if you that's, and I have to say it's a success because not only did that happen, they wind up beating PlayStation and NPD for the month of December. They didn't come in first place, and I don't really think, you know, whether they come in first, second, or third really matters. But I think the reason why I brought it up, the fact that exclusives matter. We always talk about this all the time. We talk about how exclusive titles give your platform an identity, and having PUBG as an exclusive, regardless if it didn't sell a million consoles for Xbox, it did enough to make Xbox a worthy pickup, especially the Xbox One X or just the regular old Xbox One S, which was selling like almost at $200, a worthy pickup just to play PUBG. It did its job. And I think if Microsoft can continue to find the exclusive titles that they need to entice people to come to their platform and pick up their platform, then they got a formula that they could work with. We all know this. I think they just need to get away from this idea that they can only survive with Halo, Gears, and Forza. I'm not saying that is a bad thing at all, because these games are continued success stories and they continue to evolve and continue to get better. They got great studios behind them that's developing them. But at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is the diversity of your platform and what can you continue to offer gamers that you're trying to entice to come to the platform. Something new, something consistent, and something people can believe in going forward, especially into the next generation, where now I think they've really built themselves a great foundation in the plan going forward.
That sounds like a really good segue to talk about what's going on with the coalition and all this drama that happened in the past week. You guys there?
Yeah, we're here. No, I thought you was going to segue into it. Go ahead.
Well, no, real quiet. I was. For those of you that don't know, I'm currently watching the fire department outside my apartment complex, and I'm like, guys aren't leaving.
You know, listen, we're gonna get into the coalition segment in a second. I still have some thoughts on that, but as far as PUBG though, I mean, did you guys even think that it would get to this point where you would have this many Xbox gamers invested in it?
I mean, I thought personally that they were gonna hit like maybe just over 1 million in like just a couple of weeks. That's what I thought, because I was looking more towards like Arc as a success model, where Arc did very well in its first month. Like they said, they had like it was like just over 1 million people in a month. I was like, okay, well, it's clearly not going to be a month for PUBG to do well. And I was like, okay, maybe 1 million, maybe 2, but I didn't think 3. I think 3 was pushing it. I thought when Aaron said that they were going to do a announcement this week about the player base, I was like, oh man, they're going to announce 5. I was just it was all over the place. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, I kind of felt like they would at least do 2 million. You know what I mean? Just because I felt like PUBG is the game that most Xbox gamers are attracted to. You know what I mean? I think it hits all those keys to kind of attract Xbox gamers. You know what I mean? It's fast paced. It's involves guns. You know what I mean? You can play with friends. It's an online game. So it kind of hits all those notes. And, you know, you got to tip their hat to Microsoft for kind of snatching that up and, you know, bringing something to their player base that they can be excited about.
You know what's crazy about that? Microsoft actually has been a really good when it comes to indie games. Like Sony started out amazingly well in the beginning of the generation. And now that they got their library as far as AAA titles and AA titles rolling, they've sort of slacked off from the indie scene. Not to a point to where they aren't producing good quality indies, but to a point to where they're no longer relying on them. But I think even though Xbox didn't have the abundance of indies that PlayStation had, they always had like one gem or 2 or 3 gems every year that really was like, wow, this was a great indie title. And they always like sort of like kind of bolstered about it. People don't realize that PUBG pretty much is another indie game. It's a preview program title that was brought in by the ID at Xbox program. It's not like this is some game that's on Microsoft Studios, a AA, AAA title. Like this really has to go to Chris Chawla in the ID at Xbox program team that really kept an eye on this game, you know, talked to Phil Spencer about it, maybe had a conversation with Shannon Loftus about it, and put the money up front to secure this game as a timed exclusive. I think that's a big deal. And I think Chris Chawla's done an amazing job. And, you know, Anchor, I wish he was there with us at the time. You know, when me and B and, you know, we had Skittles with us at the time. We were out there at our first E3, and we got invited to that indie season, seeing all the connections that Microsoft had made, and these like young kids in school. Like it was mind blowing. Like people from overseas, other countries. You know, we're talking to, you know, CEOs and people that run organizations, and when people are like, what game are you making? And we're like, dude, we don't make no games.
Yeah, we met Jesse there, the guy who actually made Arc. You know what I mean? He's one of the founders of Arc. And Jesse was pretty cool to talk to, man. It was definitely an experience, you know what I mean, being out there and seeing the different creators, you know what I mean, and what they were bringing to the table. So you gotta tip your hat to Chris Chawla and the relationships that he has with these indie devs, because he's brought some special things over.
Seriously, he's done an amazing job when it comes to the Idea Xbox program. And listen, PUBG is going to be, it looks like, even if it's something that doesn't sell the Xbox One X, for however long it's on there, as this thing gets more updates, new maps, more players, as they improved it, they've already made a controller adjustment to where you're switching, you know what buttons you're using to switch guns or use guns. And then they've just added first-person servers, or they're going to be added first-person servers to the Xbox side of things. You know, they're really making the right moves and the right adjustments and building it the right way. And using Xbox in the preview program, it's a huge benefit. I think the preview program is so underrated, not acknowledged for the games that is brought exclusively to Xbox. When you really think about it, you think about Ark, you think about Conan, you think about PUBG. what's the game? The Happy People thing? I forget what it's called.
We Happy
We
Few.
Happy Few.
Yeah, We Happy Few.
I've been sitting on it.
Right, you got We Happy Few that's still in development. You have the other game where that with the PlayStation finally, but the game that was on there forever, like one of the first games that was on there, where you get trapped in the snow. What's the name of that game? We actually did an interview with that.
About the Long Dark.
The Long Dark.
Yeah, Long Dark.
The Long Dark. Think about all these games that were exclusive to the platform that people played, purchased, helped developed, and they're completely ignored because they're preview games. And yet so many of us have taken the time to play these games, enjoy these games. Like right now, we interviewed Ghost of a Tale. And that's on there right now, still in development. And that game is great. That game is amazing. It's just a straight stealth type game. You're just trying to survive as this mouse, but it really is turned into something special. People should acknowledge those games more, even if they're in preview, even if they're partially done. You're going to wind up getting a great product and know that you helped build that product by purchasing and supporting the game, and then it's exclusively on the Xbox. You're not getting that game on PlayStation anytime soon. That's a big deal. And I think they should really recognize that even more. PUBG being that title that's really kind of making people just a little, I think that's really awesome. So as we move on to Microsoft and some of the news that's been going around, we actually have I won't say we broke the story, but we were one of the first people to find out that the coalition was supposedly working on a new IP. Now, I've been talking about this for the longest time. B knows we've been talking about this since like day one. Since the first time we started the first month, we talked about they need to allow these other studios like the Coalition and 343 to make new games. You know what I'm saying? And I think about something that Fame said, who's a part of the team. Fame has said something that kind of like made a really great point. Like when you're done with these games, right? Like when you're done with Gears of War, you're done with Halo. What happens to those studios? You know what I'm saying? Like, what happens? Or do you just continue to make these games until they just run dry and people get burnt down on them? You know what I'm saying? Like, have they not noticed how Call of Duty is constantly, even though people still buy it, it's constantly like going down, both in reviews and player count consistently? It's just one of those things where it's like at some point, you have to recognize that you got to let your studios do other things, especially if you are opening new studios. Now, they plan to open new ones. They plan to buy some new ones. We'll see what's happening. But the news that the Coalition that was working on a new IP was humongous to me. And I was blown away by it initially. What was your thoughts at the time, B?
I was super, super excited. You know what I mean? Like, it's something I've been asking for, like you said, since we kind of started Tick. And even before that, you know what I mean? It was always something I felt like Microsoft needs to do, just because, they have their pillars, with the big three, but I always felt like they can expand and add a little bit more repertoire, to the catalog. So I was super excited, you know what I mean? Just the thought of what it could be, what they were working on. And a lot of people speculated they were helping, work on the next Perfect Dark game. And I've mentioned that quite a few times on this podcast, that I always felt like Microsoft should expand on Rare's games, whether it be Perfect Dark, Cameo, or Viva Pinata. Rare had a great catalog of games that they kind of just left on a 360, and we haven't heard or seen much of them since. So just the thought of them resurrecting Joanna Dark was something that I was highly excited about. And then it kind of fell to the wayside when they're like, oh, no, they're not working on a new IP, which they still could be. It could just be them trying to quiet the noise or whatever, but it definitely put a damper on the excitement.
Mm-hmm. And I definitely something about it just doesn't sound right about what happened. Like that's the thing I look at, because you had an actual company come out who have made games in the past. Story Labs has worked with other games. This isn't like the first time. They came out and said, hey, we're working on a new IP. Either they don't understand what a new IP is, or they really are working on a new IP. But the thing is, like, I don't know, just the fact that supposedly a Microsoft rep went to is it Games Radar who broke the news? I'm pretty sure it's Games Radar. That went to this one particular group, not IGN, not anywhere else, just one particular group, and said, yeah, it's not true. And that's it. No one else heard it. This is the only one that's gotten anything about it. I don't know. It doesn't sit quite well with me in terms of believing it. At least believing the secondary aspect. Because like I said, it's either you're basically wanting to tell me that a developer doesn't know what a new IP is.
Well, the thing is that studio, if you read that studio is like a mocap production studio.
Yeah, they
kind of help. They're like the mocap studio. So obviously they're working on something. They know they're working on something, or they're in contract with the coalition to work on a project, allowed them to use that production studio to do mocap cutscenes. Now, one of the things that I said on Twitter when we broke the news, and I was all hyped up about it and talking about it because I thought it was really smart for them. Like, my idea of what Microsoft needs to do, and again, we get killed all the time by other Zing. Shout out to other Zing, big hardcore Xbox guy, great, always supports us, but kills us because he feels like they should never stop with 343. 343 should never miss a Halo, and Coalition should never miss a Gears. And I respect that. I respect his passion for gaming and things like that. But I just feel like we know 343 and the Coalition are really the big talented studios for Microsoft, and they produce Halo, they produce Gears, and these games are their big flagship titles, and they've drawn a lot of people. They make a lot of money for Microsoft. But I just feel like Microsoft has the opportunity to put these games in rotation, like they would put something like Forza is in rotation, but slightly different, because you would have one major studio producing two titles and another major studio producing two titles that you can alternate yearly. And it would just be just enough gap to make people want the sequel to the next title. And what I mean by that is, if you had the ability to, let's say, drop Halo 6, let's say Halo 6 came out, right? Then Gears of War 5 came out. Then after that, the 343 dropped their new IP right after that, right? And then right after that, the Coalition dropped their new IP. There's like almost a 3 to 4 year gap, which is perfect timing to drop the next Halo. You know what I'm saying? It's the same gap. I mean, you obviously have to make the studios either bigger, or you have to make a subdivision within that studio working on this second project, and then just rotate the teams out. Like, you have a smaller team start the new project while the main team works on the main project. And then as soon as the main project is done, you move on to the smaller project and put your whole team on that, and keep a small team on the old project, so they're able to continue the DLC and continue maintaining that game throughout the course of the year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's kind of like what Bethesda does. Well, Bethesda Studios. So like what they'll do is, I'm just gonna throw a hypothetical numbers. Let's say you have a 100-person dev studio, just for sake of discussion. So what you would do is, like, let's say they just finished working on Skyrim, and they have about 25 people to kind of sit back, and they're working on Fallout 4. They're working, doing their thing, and the 75 people are going to go work on. They're all working on Fallout 4. Then you have 25 guys are working on the next Elder Scrolls. So when they finish Fallout 4, then those 50 guys move on over to Elder Scrolls, and 25 guys on the Fallout team stay there and start working on the next Fallout.
Right. And that's all I was trying to say. Now think about this. In between that time, you're going to have a Forza, drop with either a Gears or Forza Horizon drop with either a Halo or one of these other newer titles. You're going to have a Crackdown. You're going to have a State of Decay 3. You're going to have all these other games that you have that drop between these 4 major IPs that you have that are flagship titles. When you really think about what Sony has as a whole, just as a first-party studio, they only have a certain number of titles that they've produced this generation as a first-party studio. A lot of the big titles that they have actually come from third-party that they just don't own. They just have the exclusive rights and the publishing for it. But plus, Infamous, you think about how they moved on. Guerrilla Games have moved on to Horizon Zero Dawn. You see Sucker Punch moving on from Infamous and going on the Ghost of Tsushima. I'm not saying Microsoft needs to follow that route, but you have to be able to study your competition. This is what allows you to continue to compete. And it's not to say that Microsoft isn't competing, because they obviously are, but it gives you insight. It shows you some of the things that these are why these fans are gravitating to this platform. And they're producing these games for these people. Now, those games might not always sell great. You know what I'm saying? And we said this before. It might not sell 2 million copies, 3 million copies. And in today's climate, be honest with you, unless it's a multi-plat title, it's pretty damn hard for a exclusive title to sell that amount of like 4, 5, 9 million nowadays, unless it comes with the console for free. You know what I'm saying? So I find that a little shaky. But what you wind up having is understand that if you can produce enough titles, whether they're niche or whether they are mainstream, you have a place where everybody and anybody can play, because you produce enough content and people have enough confidence in what you're producing and the variety and the diversity of what you're trying to put out on your platform. And I think Microsoft is trying to do that. And that's why we're hearing about the coalition working on a new IP. Now, and I know I'm running on, I'm trying to finish up, but my fear with the coalition is that they're working on a new IP, but not an actual new IP, just a new version of Gears of War. And this is like my worst fear, that they're going to come out with Gears of War, the horror game, like, Resident Evil or something like a first-person horror game. It's going to be like the new Gears of War for their new VR headset that they're going to announce at E3, which man, I would just...
Don't even put that idea out there.
But this is the type of stuff Microsoft does.
Do it.
But think about it. That would be that new IP. You know what I'm saying? But it's not, because they're a Gears studio. You know what I'm saying? But again, I think they're either Microsoft is trying to hide the fact that they're doing a new game and they don't want people to know about it because it came out too early, or like some people said, they could be working on a new Perfect Dark, which is one of the rumors that we've been hearing about, which is pretty crazy in itself.
That could be a technical way to get away with it too, because if that studio did say it's a new IP, and like maybe Microsoft can't say, well, it's not really a new IP, it's actually an old IP we're rebooting. It's like, oh, okay, our bad.
Yeah.
Like if they were told, oh, we're working on Phantom Dust, like they would say, what's Phantom Dust?
Yeah, like the whole thing with the rumor, and them coming out saying that they weren't working on it per se. I also think it could just be like a collaboration with like another studio. You know what I mean? I think Coalition could be lending a hand, similar to what they've kind of done in the past. And that's kind of where you see, the Coalition's logo popping up on Story Lab's website. I think this could be more of a collaboration, and another studio could be playing a part, and they could be doing a lot of the development, and the Coalition is, just kind of assisting. So, I mean, I guess we gotta wait and see, but I think that's definitely a possibility as well.
Right. Well, before we jump into our last segment, so very quick, what are you guys playing? What have you guys been playing in the new year? Are you playing older games? Are you playing something on a newer platform? What have you guys been playing lately?
Fallout 4.
Oh, the return of Fallout 4. By the way, okay, if you don't know what happened, okay, we had a bet last year right before E3, and the bet was that if the Xbox One X released at $399, I would have to change my name to KORSKLL, the last son of PlayStation, okay, of Planet PlayStation, for what, an entire month, I think it was?
Yeah, for a month. Yeah, 1 month.
And on top of that, I had to play the game of his choice. Right? Now, the crazy part about this was that, what's funny is that I didn't even think about anything to do with my worst fear. I thought he would give me like some crappy indie game for like $4.99 that I would have to like be bored to death through and struggle through. Bastard. He told me I had to play Alien Isolation. And if you know me, I don't play horror games. Just thinking about it at the time had my palms sweaty. There was no way I was playing Alien Isolation. And in return, if I won, and this was crazy because it was like I didn't even think about it at the time. If I had won, he couldn't play Fallout 4 for an entire year, and he couldn't buy the next that launched at release for like, I don't know, a week
for
or something like that, a month, like a month or something like that. Yeah, it was like a month. Yeah, something like that. And sure enough, the console came out at $4.99, and I just remember being at E3 when they announced it and being the only person cheering in that stadium for a $4.99 console. Nobody cheered. We was in that stadium. We were in the US auditorium. And they and Phil Spencer was like, the console's dropping this holiday at $4.99. And not one person cheered for this platform except for me. I was like, yes, because in my head, I just knew that I did not have to play Alien Isolation. And I will never forget that. And every day I rub it in his face. So now the year is up. So he's playing Fallout 4. So that's actually pretty funny and ironic that he's playing that game again.
Yeah, playing Fallout 4, trying out the patch for the X enhancement. And it's sizable. It's noticeable. A pretty big difference. It's definitely impressive to see just the load times and better textures. Just it's the God rays and the lighting and the HDR, and it's like, oh God, my eyes.
That's funny.
It really is.
What you been playing?
I'm actually trying to finish up Wolfenstein 2, man. I think I'm about 85% done.
What's the what? Well, don't give me specifics because it's crazy. Did you get to the part where you say, "Oh my God, how could this get any crazier?" And then it gets crazier.
Yeah, I did, man. Yeah, I did. Something crazy happened. I was like, "How is this? How is this?"
That's funny.
Yeah. I'm past that part of it, and I'm running around different cities. And I think I'm at my last stop. So I'm definitely enjoying that game. That game has definitely been a roller coaster ride. It's had some highs and some lows and some pretty shocking dialogue. You know what I mean? But I've enjoyed every bit of it. So I'm trying to wrap that up. And then I've been playing a lot of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Just trying to finish that up. I'm in chapter 7. About to start chapter 8. So it's got 10 chapters. Almost done with that. Really enjoying that. Trying to get wrapped up before the big games start rolling out for this year.
Right. I feel you. I went on like a gaming binge over the last a couple of months. So, for like an entire year, I was stuck playing Ark and stuck playing a bunch of MMOs and a bunch of like survival games and stuff like that. And I had to like literally rehab and get off of Ark because Ark was like Shang Tsung, man. It takes your soul, bro. Like you just can't get away from this thing. So I had to put it away. So I started out, this was like last year. I started out playing Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition, which was excellent. And the story of, it was a great game. And the added story of, I forget his name, Gumo, or the person that the creature that was like his surrogate parent. And you see that story, which was really awesome. And that level, which was really cool, and everything's in the dark. So that was a really dope thing. And then from there, I jumped into Recore. I believe, I think it was. I jumped into Recore, and you know, I played Recore for a good minute, and about halfway through, and this is the definitive edition. This is the Xbox One X Enhanced Edition. About halfway through, I just quit. I just gave up on it.
Yeah, that sounds like me, man. That sounds like me.
I just like halfway, like I was like, I had like all the robots. I had like missing just one, like the flying robot. I had like, I don't know, like 70 or 50 gems, like, and like half, I just was like, you know what? I just can't keep playing this game. The game isn't a bad game. It's just the simple fact that the game is like, it's so extra. Like it don't need to be extra. Yeah, it's way too much. It doesn't have to be open world. Like the simple fact you have to constantly go back to get these robots over and over. Like you in one place and you need that robot, but you don't have it, so you can't get this item or break this wall or go into this dungeon. Dude, this is the most annoying thing in the world, bro. And then I don't even want to get into it. I don't even want to talk about it because I'll be on it all night. But they really need to make that game linear. They need to allow you to have all the bots. They really need to make it more Metroid, more Mega Man, and less Tomb Raider. Like seriously, more Metroid, more Mega Man, less Tomb Raider. That's what they need to have it as. And I think then it would be a really huge improvement over, you know, what they were trying to do initially. So yeah, after playing the game, man, I have to say that if they make a Recore 2 the same way they made Recore 1, I'm not picking it up. I'm gonna have to pass, honestly. Jump from there. I played a little bit of Rhyme for a bit. Rhyme is something where I started because it had waypoints and then realized I didn't know what to do next, and I'm going to be having to research and like go online and find out what's the next thing to do. And once I realized that, I quit. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like I'm trying to get through these games. And I picked up Honored bundle. So I picked up Dishonored, which I thought was phenomenal. And that was the first time I played it. Knocked that out. Picked up Dishonored 2. Knocked that out. And that was amazing. And then I played, and now I'm on Wolfenstein. This is what I'm on now, playing Wolfenstein. And just really quick, man, Wolfenstein, it's just crazy. Opening scenes. My homeboy's like, listen, man, let me know when you play this game because I want to talk to you about this game. I'm like, yeah, okay, no problem. So the game opens up. You're dying or whatever. You having flashbacks. And I'm like, his mom's opens up. She got a black eye. I'm like, damn, this is real 1930s stuff right here. You know what I'm saying? It's like messed up. The father's abusing her or whatever. Then he comes out and he's like, I don't want my daughter with that. Like, okay, N-word, no problem. I could deal with that. That's not something I haven't heard before. Not a big deal. Then he talks about the moms and gets on like this Jew riff. And I'm like, oh man, it's so brutal. And I'm like really feeling like the empathy is starting to come on, dog. And then, he smacks the kid up, gives him the shotty to shoot his dog. His dog, bro, I turned it off. That was a bit much, son. That was too much for me, bro. Like I could deal with the racial slurs and the bigot incantations, but shooting the dog, bro. The sad part about it was he said, "Come eat," and the bowl was empty. He put the leash around the dog. The dog kicked the bowl like, "Yo, this bowl is empty." The dog doesn't know that it's got a double barrel shotgun in his face. It doesn't even know it's about to die, bro. And as an animal lover and as a person that has a dog, it's just sad to see like that happen, son. Like,
wait, did you shoot the dog?
That was brutal. No, I didn't shoot the dog.
I was gonna say, wow. You really are heartless.
No. I aimed away from the dog and shot at the wall, but it's just funny that, it's such a brutal scene, man. But listen, the rest of the game is brutal as well. So it really gets you in the mood for what that game is all about, which is pretty funny.
And I will say you've seen nothing yet. You really have not. It gets so much crazier than that. I cannot prepare you for how crazy it's going to get. It's just, and it really is. It's a great game. And
so let's finish. So we're going to go ahead and finish up with our last segment before taking a few questions and get your thoughts on what's up.
Yeah, so well, just real quick as a side topic, because I don't know if you guys have known. So this week launched the Overwatch League on for Blizzard. I'm going to kind of briefly skim over this because it's pretty important for the gaming sphere. This is the first, I would say, real attempt at making esports mainstream. This is absolutely insane what has been going on. So last summer they held a tournament where they had the top 12 teams from all over the world compete, and it wasn't just 12, but the top teams in the top 12 ended up becoming the teams. And so what happened was that they became eligible to be drafted by various individuals to form teams, and they're trying to build them more around cities and such. So you have like the Houston Outlaws, the New York Excelsior, and like it's. You know what I mean? It's like they're trying to make it more of like a hometown kind of thing, but they're drafting players from all over the world to be on these teams. So what's been going on is like Blizzard is just raking in money right now. Like it is absolutely crazy what has been going on. They've been selling the franchise rights to individual teams for $1 million a piece, and people are buying them. I think it's Shaq and Russell Wilson own a team. I think it's the San Francisco team. They piled them together for one. Robert Kraft, who owns the Patriots, owns the Boston Uprising. Comcast owns the Philadelphia Fusion.
Man, it's gonna be hard.
Everybody's throwing money on this.
It's gonna be hard for Diddy to get a team, bro.
It is so crazy. Like they are throwing money left and right at this stuff. But the thing is, like, this has been absolutely fun to watch. You can watch right now. Twitch paid Blizzard $90 million for the exclusive streaming rights.
$90 million? That's bro.
Blizzard,
they banking on
Blizzard is king at making money. They will.
Bro, they are. That's nuts.
They're king.
It is insane, and there's been so much drama and all this stuff floating around it. It has been so fun to watch. There's like one of the big controversies has been there are teams that are just South Korean drafted teams that represent like the New York Excelsior is an entirely South Korean team, and everyone's like, why? This was New York.
You heard Dave Chappelle, bro. Them Koreans get on that night, bro. They were wrecking. Bro. You gotta listen to Dave Chappelle, son. You don't want no war.
Oh, that reminds me, bro. Was it the owner of the New York Mets owns the New York team, by the way. It was a thing.
That's what's up.
But it's been crazy to watch. But yeah, definitely go check it out if you haven't. This is, like I said, this is probably the best instance we're going to see for esports for a while, trying to get into the mainstream. They got games. They got like 3 matches a night from now till June.
That's
and it's going to be like I think it's Wednesday through Saturday for games. So 3 matches a day.
Okay, cool. So let's jump into our last topic, man, and get this Q&A on. Listen, Microsoft. We just kind of brought that into fruition. We talked a little bit about it. Microsoft, big rumors of Microsoft classic IPs being revived, both Perfect Dark and Fable. Sound like they're on their way back. We had an exclusive interview with Ken Law back in the day when we got a chance to talk to him about Perfect Dark. If you haven't heard that interview, make sure you check out our interview section in our playlist and look up the Ken Law interview. It was a great interview. When he came on, we got a chance to talk about Scalebound. Miss you, Scalebound, RIP. We got a chance to talk about Phantom Dust a little bit. RIP Phantom Dust. We're sorry that Tick Podcast killed you. Apologies for that. Tick Podcast helped with the death of Scalebound. I mean, of not Scalebound. No, not Scalebound.
Don't you put that evil on me.
Don't put Scalebound on me. Okay? But we had a hand in, unfortunately, the death of Phantom Dust is just crazy. Go back, read it. Listen to it, and then go find the Kotaku interview with the developer about how they found out about this game they supposed to be making. That was not the game they was making. But anyway, okay. So we got a chance to talk to him about Perfect Dark, and we gave our ideas to him, and he said that they were talking about something similar, third person Perfect Dark, sort of like adventure type game instead of going first person. And that's why we thought maybe the Coalition may be working on it, because it kind of Coalition seems to be the kings at this point of third person for Microsoft with Gears of War. So it's a possibility. Unreal Engine 4 seems right up that alley, man. It could be something that they've been working on. Prior to them working on Gears of War, they were working on this tech demo called Shanghaiist, which seems right up the alley of what Perfect Dark may be. So we never know. You just don't know what they're working on. So maybe they are, maybe they're helping. We'll see. On the other hand, Fable 4. Big rumors about Fable 4 returning. Playground Games may be working on it. It's a lot of things pointing towards Playground Games, new RPG being actually Fable 4 or a Fable game in the Fable name or whatever. And that kind of leads back to when Microsoft was looking for a developer to help build environments similar to Horizon Zero Dawn. Big open world, I guess it's going to be like, we don't know exactly how they're going to portray it, but it kind of falls in line with that. Now, the only other thing is Electric Square and Studio Gobo, which we spoke about earlier, where we believe they're also working on the IP. But if you look at Studio Gobo's history, it seems like they could be working on a platformer. We're all wishing for a new Conquer or Banjo or something along those lines. But, you know, with these three titles possibly making a return, do you think that's a good start for Microsoft as far as getting their foot back in the right direction of producing the type of IPs that they need to strengthen their library?
I think it's a great start if they are all solid games. I think that's kind of been like their biggest struggle. You know what I mean? Because we've had some solid IPs come out this gen for Microsoft. You know what I mean? Whether it be Rise or Sunset Overdrive or, you know, just all the other games that come out with Quantum Break. So, but I think what's kind of held them back is some of the relationships that they had where they really didn't have control of those IPs, or those IPs just didn't come out to the expectations of what gamers wanted. So I think as long as these games are hits and they bring quality to the table, then I think there's definitely a step in the right direction. I mean, a lot of people wanted Fable 4 in the first place. They didn't want the Fable Legends thing. So if they make it more of a traditional game, it definitely brings that RPG back to Microsoft in the first party standpoint. So I think that could definitely be huge for them. Perfect Dark, I think, is a wild card just because it's been dormant for so long. Not too sure, you know, what the audience is for that. But I think if, you know, they bring it back in the right way, they can definitely, you know, capture the eyes of gamers and at least, you know, garnish a little bit of attention. I think that was always one of those IPs where I felt like instead of wasting the money on having Tomb Raider exclusive for a year, they could have really rebooted Perfect Dark, and that could have been like their female lead, you know, for them instead of, you know, dishing out the extra money for Tomb Raider. So, you know, all those IPs are solid games. And I think they definitely have potential to boost Microsoft in the right direction.
Right. Listen, I just think that Microsoft needs to dig deeper into their IP library. I just think people don't understand. Like, nobody understands the games that Microsoft owns. Remember that time we did did a show when we just looked at all the IPs that they owned, and they just have so many IPs from Rare, so many IPs from PC. You know, the Mech Warrior series. Like, why we haven't gotten a Mech Warrior on Xbox? Like, Mech Assault was cool, but Mech Warrior, like, have you ever played Mech Warrior and understand the detail that went into building a mech and Mech Warrior? It was nuts. You know, I remember Armored Core. In Armored Core, don't get me wrong, Mech Warrior is nothing like Armored Core, but I'm just saying that I remember Armored Core, and Armored Core was a big deal back in the day. It was like mechs, RPG, RTS type strategy. you're putting all these type of things, lasers, homing missiles. They were quick though. It was kind of like a bunch of Metal Gears on the field or whatever, at least design wise, it was supposed to be. Mech Warrior was a much slower game because it was built on PC, but it had similar aspects. I would love to see a game like a Mech Warrior, or even a new Mech Assault built in the form of Hawking. Like, you got those Hawking guys, they're not doing nothing on PC anymore. You could easily snatch that little studio up, have them start working on a new Mech Assault. Mech Assault doesn't have to be something that's astronomically, as far as the production cost of the game goes. A lot of people loved Mech Assault just for the multiplayer of being able to go and fight each other in these mechs. You know what I'm saying? Not even a campaign aspect of it. And I think that would be really cool if they were able to grab a studio that had the experience and understood what they were doing and really push them into a direction where they could really make something special again, or a Mech Warrior something special again. You think about all the IPs they own from Rare. Saberwolf, Battletoads, Cameo, Conquer, Banjo. They probably have the Banjo Racing series or whatever it was, or whatever they were trying to do. You look at Rare Replay that Microsoft owned. Joust. I'm not saying they have to bring everything back. You can be selective, but there's a lot of IPs that could be turned into AAA exclusives, and they really need to look at those things, or AA exclusive. They really need to look at those things, dig deep into their library, and start pulling some of these games and rebooting them back up. I don't think Phantom Dust was a success by any means. I didn't like Voodoo Vince. I didn't like what they did this year with those two titles, and that's one of the reasons why I thought 2017 wasn't great for them. But with the rumors of a Fable, rumors of a Perfect Dark, games that really are more prominent, people remember those games. They had impact during the time they were released. I think they've really, really, really special. And the biggest thing of all is Phil Spencer is in charge of everything now. As the vice president, it says so much about what Microsoft is doing, how important they are to Microsoft. I mean, not Xbox, excuse me. What about what Xbox is doing and how important Xbox is to Microsoft, and how Microsoft has changed the way they look at the Xbox brand. It's no longer the evil or redheaded stepchild. No disrespect to the redheads out there.
It was Kiss of Ginger Day, by the way, a couple days ago.
But it's like, no disrespect to like the black sheep of. It's now looked at as a big part of Microsoft, and with Phil in charge and having the Satya Nadella himself, Microsoft have the opportunity to put Xbox at the forefront. I think that's what they're doing with this theory of buying new studios, buying IPs, or building new studios and building new IP, because they know that they have finally a foundation with Live. They have a new platform on Xbox One X, and I think every Xbox going forward will be $499. Mark my words, the next Xbox that come out will be $499, or they will have two versions, one that's $399 and one that's $499, a premium and a non-premium, like the S and the X. And I just think that's what they're going to be doing going forward. All they need is the games. That's all they need, and they'll be back on the right path for 2019 in the future.
Let me ask you guys something. Do you guys think that they would implement multiplayer in the Fable?
If you did it right, because Fable 2 had co-op and it was terrible.
Yeah, I was going to say, clarify, what do you mean multiplayer? We're talking like PvP, PvE? We talking co-op?
It's gotta be either co-op or PvE. Like, co-op. So similar to how like Fable Legends was like a 4v1 or whatever it was. You know what I mean? One character could kind of controlled all the enemies, and you had like the 4 players that, were all companions or whatever. They could possibly do something similar to that, where they, it's either just co-op, with 2 players or whatever, or you can play with, up to 4 players in a party. Do you think that they could implement something like that and have success with it?
They need to. Listen, Microsoft is great at online. Microsoft is great at anything co-op. They're great at building games that have really great single players and really great multiplayers. They found their perfect balance of building these things. Sony is mostly known for their first party, their cinematic experiences, and their stories. And a lot of people gravitate to that, especially in other countries, because online infrastructure that some of the larger, first world countries have. So it's easy to do, first party games where you just want it done. You don't have to rely online. Microsoft literally have built their infrastructure around live. So that's why I always go with Xbox, because I love playing online. I love playing with people and being social. It's one of the things that made me fall in love with the 360. When I had my PS3, I just remember playing Infamous 2 and like feeling lonely. Like, who feels lonely playing a single player game? It's because I was so used to playing games on my 360 in a party with multiple people. And I didn't have that on PS3. And that's when I realized Xbox 360 was the platform for me going forward. And then they had all these RPGs, and that just helped. But
yeah, I just think like when you listen to Phil and he brings up games as a service, I think that definitely one way to kind of extend the life of Fable. And I think about what they did with State of Decay, and they include the 4-player co-op with State of Decay 2. I think that's something they definitely could implement in Fable, and have it grow some legs. It won't just be something that you play once and kind of set it on the shelf. If they could add some multiplayer to it, whether it be co-op or multiple players or whatever, and add different events or whatever the case may be over the course of a year or a couple years, they could find some success with that.
Like I imagine if they were trying to implement it into a Fable 4, it would be kind of like Fable Legends. It's hard for me to say kind of like Fable Legends because I never got to play it when it was available. But I kind of, when people say that, my first inclination, my first thought is you have like you're playing like a bounty hunter or just an adventurer. You go to the guild. Like if you make this the online component, you have a guild that you can join, and you could do missions for the guild. And you go out and you do these missions, and you can do them solo or in co-op, and then you find other adventurers who are doing their own thing. And you kind of all join together to go do that and get some gold or whatever, and like maybe have there be like a player hub, or maybe like one particular city that is this player hub that you can go to and do everything. I
played it in the Monster Hunter beta, right? And that's kind of what it made me think about. You know what I mean? Like, this could be like Fable's multiplayer. You know what I mean? Where you can it's got like a little hub world where you can see all the other players or whatever. You link up and you just go out, you know what I mean, and do adventures. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think, they could definitely have some success with that if they implement it correctly.
I think they can. They have the infrastructure for it. And they have the party system for it, especially the looking for group, which works well for a lot of people. I see it all the time coming across my screen. So it's just one of those things where it's like, man, Microsoft, they have the foundation. They just need the games. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I love Xbox fans to death. I love the Xbox community. I love the Xbox brand. That's why I do what I do. But sometimes fans kill me with the whole notion that first-party games aren't really needed. It's all about third-party titles, and the best games are third-party. And that's in a way, it is true. In a small way. Most third-party titles normally win Game of the Year, and they become really popular, and they really kind of outshine most exclusives. But again, first-party games give you identity. First-party games brings people to your platform. And if you're able to build a Fable that people have been wanting for a long time, or reboot a Fable and implement a co-op system where you're not some lame-looking character like a pirate. Like in Fable 2's co-op was horrendous. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was terrible. The only thing you could do was bring back the loot that you collected into your game. And that was really mainly it. Nothing in your story progress. You only helped somebody else's story progress, which is exactly what State of Decay is. This is one of the most disappointing things with me in State of Decay 2. I don't think a lot of people know this. I talked about this last year when we did a show right after E3 and how disappointed I was with the news that State of Decay 2 was about playing 4-player co-op, but you would play on somebody else's game in somebody else's world. Whatever their progression was did not affect your progression or story. So like if there's a campaign,
so it's like
in the game you're playing, right? So like if you play the game, and what winds up happening is when you join the game, you join as one of their survivors, and you help their survivor gain stats and bonuses. Like you level their survivors up, and then when you leave your game, anything you've collected in their world comes back into your game. But your progress in your world never changes. You have to play your games completely over. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things where I thought that was just crazy, because you could put 18, 20, 30, 40 hours into somebody else's game and not get one lick of benefit besides maybe finding items. And I didn't like that at all. That was probably the biggest disappointing thing with the game. Hopefully they change that where the progression and the storyline kind of benefits both. But I guess it's different because you're trying to survive in a world, and if you both find a place, y'all both can't have the same space. He finds a mansion and he builds up this mansion and builds this fort. You wouldn't have that fort because the fort's in his game and the way he's designed it. You just helped him design it. But I thought it would be bad. I think it's best if y'all both get it or everybody got it, so you all benefit. They have to figure that out, because I just don't know the long-term benefits of playing that game if you don't really get any progression other than just items and XP. So that's a tough one. But no, but Microsoft definitely needs to implement, not saying they have to do it with every game, but a game like Fable needs to have it, because it's time to move forward with it. And with games like Destiny, games like Monster Hunter, co-op RPG experiences are becoming bigger, and Microsoft should definitely try to dip their hands into that, because that's a big market really starting to blow up and stuff like that. But hopefully they also continue to build first-party single-player experiences that's deep in story and balanced in cinematics. Balance, and I emphasize balance in cinematics, because we don't want more story or more movie cutscenes than gameplay. That's really what it is. So listen, man, that's it for tonight's show. I want to thank everybody for stopping out. Greatly appreciate the support. We're going coming up, so if anybody have any questions, go ahead, put your questions in the chat. We'll try to answer them to the best of our ability. And you can catch this episode on iTunes. I got a ton of backlog content that I have to upload from 2017, so keep an eye out for that if you've missed any of our older shows, and you'll be able to catch this new show on iTunes, Google Play, the Stitcher app, and Podbean, or even on Xbox. Just download any podcast app and just type in TIC podcast as one word, and we should pop up, and all our content will pop up. So again, I want to thank everybody for stopping out. I am greatly appreciative for the support. I will be dropping total Super Pod Shots sometime next week. Super Pod Shots will be done. And if you guys don't know, one of the things that I plan to do this year is actually create my own channel. It's not to move away from Tick in any way. It's actually to help grow Tick. But it's also to reach an audience to sort of talk about some of the things I would like to talk about that I probably wouldn't be able to do on this channel, because we've built the channel so focused around gaming that I don't have that audience. I'm a big anime guy, movie buff guy, love gaming, love Xbox and stuff like that. So on my new channel, The Last Sun Network, I'll be talking about all those things. I'll be doing top fives of animes, recommendations, movie reviews, play videos, and I'll have a regular podcast and little news pop shots, 2-minute news things that I get updated from Microsoft and any industry, obviously, because of TICGN and everything like that, working with such a great team over there, they get the latest news. And if I'm able to get wind of it before somebody puts it out, I'll try to do a quick video and upload it. I'm getting like all types of, new intros and logo made right now. So very excited about it. We have a bunch of new people joining. We may have a new podcast team joining the network as well. I'm not sure yet. We have a lot to discuss. So I'm very excited about a lot of things and everything like that. So again, I want to thank everybody for the support as always, man. You guys mean so much to us and supporting us for such a long time. Please give us a thumbs up. We're going to go ahead and end the show for the MP3 crowd and turn our attention to the chat. So I'm your host, KLRSKLL, the last son of Planet Xbox with Anchorman V and B Money 101. We are off this planet. Peace. All right. So listen, man, I want to thank everybody for stopping out. Shout out to Ed. Shout out to Fastback D21, Joe Sinister, Foul. What's up, Foul? Okay, Cog is in the building. What's up, Cog? Thank you for stopping out as always. To Patman Jones being in the chat, Shitner Gaming, the Mac of all. A lot of people came out tonight. Nicholas Graham, thank you, brother, for over supporting. R2C25, thank you for supporting as always and coming out, man. Just want to go through the chat, man, and really thank the people for stopping out and hanging out with us tonight. Go ahead, ask your questions. Let's try to knock some of these things out in the meantime, and hopefully we can answer them to the best of our abilities. I'm looking forward to Monster Hunter. I played Dragon Ball today, by the way, and I have a few gripes with the beta. I know it's a beta, and it's like incredibly difficult to get a match. And I know it's a lot of people on this beta because most of the lobbies are full. Like as soon as you log in, those lobbies get full pretty quickly. I played somebody who had Android 16, and I literally could not throw a punch, bro. like it is so like the character is so OP, it's so cheese because like when you play the game, if you like you can, it's so authentic, like it's so, I'm not even gonna lie, like it's so authentic to the anime that I was getting my butt handed to me and I just had to respect it because it was so authentic to the game. So if you can close the distance by pulling the right trigger so fast. Like if you jump in the air, they got like it's 2 jumps. You could double jump like in old Marvel vs. Capcom or like Street Fighter 3. You down up, make sure you get another a boost jump. But if you tap up again when you're in midair, you'll jump again. And if you hit right trigger, it'll thrust you forward with an energy thrust that locks onto the character literally from across the map. You can literally do that from across the map and be on somebody's ass in like 3 seconds flat, bro. Like mad quick. So imagine fighting somebody. They do that combo, they hit you, you fall. As soon as you get up and try to throw a punch, they've already hit the right trigger to attack you again, like with that burst to get up on you and have you pinned up against the wall. So the only thing you can do is kind of like teleport, and it's dope because you can hit a teleportation button which throws you behind another character and launches them across the room. You know what I'm saying? That kind of break that up. But the cheesiest thing I found so far in the game is there's a right bumper attack, which is normally would be like your throw. So like, a Street Fighter, you find somebody that's really cheese and you fighting them, but as soon as you get close, they constantly throw you. They constantly grab you, and they either do the Ken roll and throw your ass across the mat, which takes mad health, or the Ryu slam and slam you on the floor, which takes mad health. But in this instance, this attack, if you get caught with it, instead of it being a throw, it's a 24-hit combo that launches you into the sky, and you can follow and continue with another combo. Like,
Wow.
what type of crap is that, son? Like, it's a 20-hit combo, and you lose like a good chunk of health. Then you follow in the sky, and if you're able to land that juggle, you can continue that combo mid-air, bro, and then send them on the ground. And some characters have direct attacks that go directly below them, like Android 18 and Krillin both have an attack where they look directly down at the ground, and when you knock a person down, they shoot a blast attack directly at the floor. Krillin's attack is smaller, obviously, because he's weaker. But Android 16's attack is big as hell, son. It's like half the screen. Yo, it is not a game. And then the day when she hits you with the combo and knock you in the air, she can catch you with a super and tag 17 into the fight. And they hit you for 56 hits between the both of them. Energy blast from both sides, bro. Yo, like your whole bar, done. Like your whole bar is done, bro. It's like beyond OP, son. I was like, I gotta practice. Like I literally have to practice, bro. Like they make me really want to buy like Hyperbolic Time Chamber DLC, bro. Like I gotta get in there, son, because this is a problem for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up Monster Hunter next. I'm waiting. The good thing is, my game share partner is picking it up for Xbox, but I'm gonna pick it up for PlayStation. But I might wait a little bit on the PlayStation one, just a tiny bit, just to see if I even like it on the Xbox first.
Mm-hmm.
if I dig it, I'll go all in and I'll go buy it on PlayStation. But yeah, if I don't, I didn't want to commit. I didn't want to commit like that if it wasn't good.
Right. All right. So first question comes from Edge XL. Shout out to Chico, editor-in-chief over at TICGN. Runs a great tight ship over there. Is it true that Cal will name his third, fourth, and fifth kids Bruce Wayne, Harley Quinn, and Aquaman?
No.
Absolutely
Everyone
not.
knows it's Barry Allen, and then it's Billy Batson.
First, my wife, because she can only have C-sections. Because my son, when he was born, actually had the cord around his neck. His heart rate kept dropping every time she tried to push. So we can only actually have 3 kids, which is a great deterrent for having more kids. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect. Obviously, B Money is the king of children. This man has a lineage. He's got whole teams. He's got the X-Men. He's got a whole team. They're going to take care of his ass, bro. They all going to the leagues. That kid's father. That kid is amazing. But she can only have one more kid. We already have 2. So they said they can only cut her one more time before, her stomach gets messed up. So my son Liam, his middle name is Kal-El after Superman. My daughter, her first name is Lana, and her middle name is Storm after Aurora from X-Men. Now, if I have another child, if I'm lucky, and it's a boy, he will be. I like Lucas. My wife likes Luke. You know what I'm saying? I like Lucas. Now, his middle name was supposed to be Flash. She got mad because somebody named their kid Flash, and she no longer wanted to name our kid Flash. I said that's a different Flash. This lady's last name was Gordon. So her kid's name was Flash Gordon. I thought that was pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I don't want to name our son Flash. Think of something else. I'm like, that's a different Flash. Like Flash from the DCU, completely different people. Like, we're not talking about that Flash, okay? There's no way I'm not going to name my kid Flash. If it's a girl, I actually haven't thought about that, honestly. I haven't thought about what I would name her if it was a girl. That's something I would have to ask your wife
pick for once.
Well, she gets the first name. I mean, I can't knock her except for Liam. Well, the cool thing is, here's the thing. I'm a slick talker, man. I gotta be gifted with tongue, man, because I've convinced her to name all our kids with L's. Because my name starts with an L. So it's Linwood. My name is Linwood. People call me Wood for short. My son's name is Liam. My daughter's name is Lana. If we have a boy, his name would be Luke or Lucas. And if we have another girl, I haven't figured it out yet, but it'll be something with an L. Then I turned around and convinced her to allow me to name these kids after superheroes and anime characters. She actually likes Sasuke from Naruto. She actually liked Sasuke. I could have named my kid Sasuke, but then I figured, I don't want him turning on me and killing my whole village. So I said, no, I'm not going to let that happen. You know what I'm saying?
Sasuke's the man, though, man.
Lucas Sasuke. Lucas Sasuke. That just sounds weird to say.
It's just crazy. But no, funny stuff. Let's see here. Next question. D21 exclusive says, how disappointed are you in the Dragon Ball beta not working? Makes me want to cancel my pre-order.
Good. Cancel it.
I don't think that it's not working. I just think obviously it's a beta. They're going to have to work out those kinks. There's a lot of people buying this game. This game's got a lot of hype. It's actually really good. I can tell you right now it's going to rate extremely well, and this damn thing is deep. I can tell you this game is so deep, and what you can do and how you can play, it's going to wind up having its own like its own con. I can see that happen, like its own fighting con or something like that or whatever. It's going to be that good. Let me see here. Yeah, shout out to Iron Lords. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Iron Lord podcast starts at 11 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you tune into that and check those guys out, man. Those guys always hold it down on Sundays for us. Foul Davigan, shout out to Foul. Foul asks, do you think Forza Horizon 3 will run 1080p 60 on an X with max settings or just 1080p 60?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Not going to bother to even attempt to answer that.
They probably, I think they could probably get it to run 1080 60 at max settings. It'll definitely be an option for 4K 30. I would assume 1080 60 would be an option too. They'll probably get it pretty close to max settings, I would assume.
Right. I think they'll do 4K 30 and 1080 60. I think they'll give you both options. I really think they'll do that. 1080 60 obviously is ideal with enhancements, especially if you can get those 4K textures. I think that's probably the way to go. 1080 60 because the game is already gorgeous. Give us the it's tough because it is an open world game. You know what I'm saying? Adding 60 frames per second is a big jump from 30. Like adding another 30 frames and locking it at 30 is a huge jump. I don't know if the Xbox One X, it should have the power for it. Nah, not really, because the CPU is okay. It's not that special. That's why everybody's going for the textures and the 4K resolution, because it has the GPU for it. You know what I'm saying? It has the processing power for that. It's got the RAM and everything, but the CPU side of things, that processing is just really not there as far as those frames are concerned. So maybe, I don't think we will get 60, honestly. If we do, it'd probably be 1080 60, just basically a flat 1080 60, no bump, no enhancements, I think. And then I think they'll have like 4K with enhancements, HDR, and all that jazz. But at 30 frames per second locked. Hopefully they give you two options. I think that's the way to go when it comes to these enhancements on Xbox. Both options, both 60 and both 4K. Let's see here. Fastback says, Cal, your boys Fame and Dallas were working hard in the streets of PAX South. No doubt. I got a chance to see them and check out their video early this morning. My wife was actually laughing at Fame because he was cracking a lot of jokes as he was walking around the PAX South hub. I won't be attending E3 this year. B, you going to E3 this year?
I actually will not. I actually have, family vacation. The week of E3 is actually 3 of my kids' birthdays. So
right. What about Egg? I know Egg's not going. Egg's trying to stack that paper.
I'm trying to make money, man. I got to do what I got to do.
I hear you, brother. Yeah, I'm taking a break this year, man. We've gone, 3 years in a row? I think it was. So at least I've gone 3 years in a row. B went twice in a row. Edgar went once. So I'm going to take a break this year. I'm not going to go.
I think this year could be a really big year, man. I think this year could be a really big year.
You know what I'm thinking about doing? I'm thinking about heading out to LA for one day and coming back just for the Microsoft conference. Like get in my pass for the Microsoft conference, go out there, watch the conference that morning, and then hop on a flight back to Florida midday after seeing everybody hanging out for a little bit. Maybe go to Fan Fest if I'm lucky, and then head back that night. You know, it's in the back of my head. Just one day. My wife would love to. She wants to go. She's like, let's go to LA. I'm like, wow, you just gonna be in the hotel?
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, that was my
I
thing
can't take
too.
you with me. Yeah, like you just
My
gonna
wife's
be
like,
in the hotel.
you know, if you're going, then everybody got to go. And it's just like, nah, I'm good. We got to do something else.
He's like, nah, that ain't happening, bro. You seen the women in LA, bro? We almost got in trouble last year. It was crazy. Let's not bring that up and have that recorded as evidence. Yeah, no, that's funny. Edge XL says B Money can make a woman pregnant by being in the same building with her. Hot yo wives. Woo! Don't let his wife hear that, boy.
Yeah, she crazy, man.
She gonna be on word. Joe Center says Arc System makes great fighters, which is true. Let's see.
Yeah,
Patman Jones. Yeah, the Arc Systems, they do really great when it comes to fighters. Patman Jones, shout out to Patman. Patman says, would you guys buy a blood wake with Sea of Thieves water? I never played Blood Wake. So I think Blood Wake is supposed to be like Twisted Metal with boats.
I mean, I don't think I'd buy a Blood Wake at all.
I don't think I would buy Blood Wake at all. Yeah, it's not my cup of tea. I did like Hydro Thunder at the time, which is more racing, but I don't know. I had what was that game on Dreamcast that was like Twisted Metal? Something 9, Route 9, Assault 9 with cars.
What the hell? What is it called?
Oh my gosh, I can't remember that game. That was like one of the few games that I purchased that I was like, I thought that was pretty dope and stuff. Like Twisted Metal was dope back in the day, and you know, these arena games with the cars and you chase people and blow them up and shoot them up, and it's like little drops all over the place. That's pretty cool. It's like little battle arenas with the vehicles, but I don't know if a boat one would really be successful in today's climate. Maybe as a budget title. You know, like an indie idea Xbox $19.99 title, $30 title or something like that. But you couldn't put big money into that. Putting Sea of Thieves water in there sounds like big money to me. You know what I'm saying? Because that Sea of Thieves water is amazing, bro. I play Sea of Thieves beta, and this kid took me into a storm, bro. When those waves start going because of that storm and that ship elevates, you feel it. Like you see it and you feel it like, yo, this is for real. Like you really in that storm, son. And it's not a game. Like you want to get out of that storm as fast as possible because your ship will sink. It's pretty dope. Sea of Thieves is about to be amazing. It really is. Joe Citizen says, you see Microsoft ever having a Nintendo Direct type thing in the future? Maybe to show upcoming games like Crackdown 3, State of Decay, stuff coming in the near future.
I wish they would. That would make some things a lot easier.
They're not going to do that. You know, the reason why Nintendo does that is because Nintendo doesn't do an event. Just do Nintendo Directs. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Microsoft still does this big event at USC every year. You know what I'm saying? Like to them, that's E3 is their show. Everything for E3. But, you know, unlike Sony that does the PlayStation experience, which seems to get more boring every year. Like it really does. Like every year it seems to get worse. Sony has VR and they have a plethora of indie games and Japanese games to show off that allows them to extend their conferences. You know, where they could show you a good chunk of their first party titles at E3 and show you some indie games at or some VR games at PlayStation Experience. Meanwhile, Microsoft, on the other hand, they showed you what they had at E3 and turned around and showed the same show at Gamescom.
jeez.
Yo, we were
Like,
so
literally,
confused, man. We were so
we were
confused.
like,
Like,
dude,
what
we
is
just
this?
saw this conference at watching the same conference at Gamescom. So nah, I don't see that happening anytime soon until Microsoft start to bolster that library, bro.
I just want him to get back to
Vigilante
where
9.
I just want him to get back to where that one year where they had like at E3 they show what was coming for that year, and then at Gamescom they show what was coming like in the next
Yep.
6 to
The
12
future.
months or whatever. Yeah,
Yep.
just get
Right.
back to
That was
that,
great.
and I'm good. You know what I mean? Yeah, we don't have to have a extra show or nothing else. Just get back to show me what's coming the next 6 months. Show me what's coming in the future. I'm good.
Right. Let me see here.
I got a question if you want one, because I know someone should have asked it by now. I know
Oh
that
boy, here we
much.
go. It better not be related to Fusion Frenzy.
No,
And it
it's
better
not
not
related
be
to Fusion
related
Frenzy, but I'm glad you
to
reminded me of
Alien
that.
Isolation. Oh boy. All right, go ahead. I'm listening.
No, so apparently the God of War release date. The rumor for a little while was that it was going to be March 22nd because it was a Thursday, and that rhymes with Thor's Day, and so they were like, see, there we go, it's going to be a thing. But so that kind of got shuttered since they still have yet to announce a release date for that game. But now the rumor is back up again, and people still think it's real. So the question I ask you is, do you think it's actually real or not? Do you think it's actually going to come out March 22nd?
What game?
God of War.
God of War? I don't know. They just canceled the jump button. They got to figure it out. I don't think so. I think they did push it back. You know what I'm saying? I think it'll drop. Honestly, God of War should be a holiday. It should be a holiday title. Like it's that big of a title. It should though. It really should.
Coming out in March.
You think it's gonna come out in March?
You're that certain?
They're gonna announce the release date in the next 2 weeks. I guarantee it. They've done this in the past where they have like these 8-week rollouts for God of War. They announce the release date like the second to last week in January or the last week in January, and then they go all out. You'll see God of War everywhere. You'll see Kratos. You'll see Atreus. They'll have everything everywhere for the next 8 weeks until the game rolls out, and it'll be out. I think that the 22nd is like a weird date, just because it is like a Thursday. I always felt like it would come out like the last week of March. But like that last Tuesday, I think Far Cry comes out or whatever. So I don't think they'll do it then. So 22nd is plausible, I guess. But I think that game's definitely coming out in March.
I just when I look at God of War, especially the way they have this new one built, it just looks so amazing that it should definitely. I just feel like it's a blockbuster title and should come out in the fall. Honestly, but you know what? If it wants to come out in March, I think that's smart too. I can't knock Sony for wanting to drop that title around the time that's going to be a big seller, I think. And the new direction they're taking it. Listen, they're going to be successful with the game regardless. You know what I mean? Like you might have some people that may hate it and say there's no jump button and the changes are too dramatic. I guarantee you'll have somebody who will review the game that way. But overall, I just think that we're going to wind up getting another good game with God of War. I just think Sea of Thieves, which releases around that same time, is going to be huge for Xbox. A lot of people sleep on this platform. This game, and based on what I've seen and based on what I've played and based on the feedback, it's just going to be huge. And I can't wait to get my hands on it, especially with Mixer. It's going to be crazy. This is the perfect game to watch. Though, being in a boat is slow as hell. Like, my only concern with this game is if you're, like, across the map somewhere and you die and you have to go all the way back to where you started, I hope they have, like, outposts where you can, like, save yourself and your ship at that particular post. So if you died, you didn't get too far away from where you were at, where the treasure was or something like that, or you could recover in time. But besides that, everything else about the game seems pretty cool, man. Excited about that game. I think that's it. I think that's it for tonight, man. Yeah, so listen, Microsoft, lots of energy, lots of rumors, lots of talk at the beginning of the year.
Before we get out of here,
go ahead.
Let me ask you this. There's rumors that we could see a new Xbox in 2019. How do you guys feel about that?
I doubt it.
I would be pissed off, honestly.
No, if it just came out, like let's just say the rumor.
Like they announced 2019 and then released 2019 like they did with the Xbox One, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Right.
Oh, I would be so upset. I would go on a rant. I'd probably get blocked by a lot of Xbox fans at that point. That's probably exactly what would happen. Because I would go on a rant. Because I'd just be like, dude, we just spent $500 on this platform 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And y'all dropping a new console like this quick. You might as well have just rolled out the Xbox One. Just keep taking the L's on the Xbox One, dog. Like, what's the point? And then come out with a real 4K system where everything is 4K and everything is 60 frames per second and everything is what it's supposed to be, like high end. Like, why drop this platform and then make us wait 2 years to come out with a new one? Like, if the next Xbox don't come out in 2021, I'm gonna be mad. That's how I feel. Like, I need at least 4 years with the X, or three and a half years with the X. It's got to come out at least.
I think 2020 is fair.
2020 is a bit. 2020 is fair because it comes at the end of 2020.
Yeah,
it's got to be November 2020.
You got a solid 2 years. Enjoy your X is the top thing. I personally, I think that 2020 is probably the most reasonable bet on when it would come out. But if they came out in 2019, yeah, I'd be a little pissed off. It's like, okay, so how quick are we expecting this to come on every time? Like, yeah. Is it going to be every 2-3 years now? There's a new console generation. Is that how it is?
Yeah, I this is how I felt, and Fastback has a point. Like 2021, a year after PS5, to me that makes sense. And that's kind of basically what he says. That's why I say 2021, because PlayStation, no doubt, came out is a year earlier than the Xbox. Microsoft has to be in a position where, remember, we did the interview with Albert Pernello, and I asked him specifically, I said, Albert, like, what is your plans with these platforms if you guys continue to go this direction where you're no longer looking at generations where a generation is going to hurt you? Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I think I would be a little bit annoyed, but I think I'd be excited at the same time, just because like I enjoy the X for what it is, but I think we can get something like more powerful and can pretty much give us everything that we want. Because I just think of like the future games, like if I can get Cyberpunk to run at like 60 frames, 4K on the new iteration of Xbox, like, hell yeah, I'm buying that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I guess it just depends on the feature set of the box or whatever, what the capabilities are. But I think I'd be pretty excited about it, man.
Hey, if I die, just know it was because of Insidious 5. Bro, my daughter's toy started playing like the piano. She started playing for no reason, son. It was just sitting on the floor, and the music started playing, and the colors is going, bro. And I just look over at it across the room. I'm like, bro, what the hell? Like, there's nobody down here. It's just me. That was freaky for a second. No, we're back on topic. Listen, man, I just think that Microsoft will never give up the power advantage ever again. That's how I feel. I truly believe that. Listen, I got a DM with Phil Spencer that I think is okay to post now because it's so old. I remember talking to Phil one-on-one, and I said, Phil, this is before the Xbox One X came out and before even Scorpio came out. And I said, Phil, I was so like upset with all of the nonsense that people kept bashing the original Xbox because of, what they've done with the ERAM and all that stuff like that, that people didn't even recognize the quality of the titles that they were putting out. Like, even if I don't like Sunset Overdrive, it's not a bad game. A lot of people love it. It had solid story. It had great dialogue. It was funny. It was energetic. A lot of people like it. I just hate the constant movement. So that's what turned me off. But a lot of people love the game. You talk about the Gear series, which isn't either. It's not rated bad. Halo's not rated bad. As a multiplayer, they both have been successful. The Forza series continues to be successful. They've had smash hits with indie games and Cuphead and Ori and the Blind Forest and State of Decay. So they have a ton of games that they've been really successful with, and some cult classics like Rise, Son of Rome, and so on and so forth. So all those games being ignored, you know what I'm saying? I was getting frustrated. And I was like, you know what, Phil? I said, Phil, I don't care what you make. I said, if you make another console, even if it's $500, I will pay for it, as long as you make sure it is like completely built with nothing but power. And Phil responded to me. This is pretty much exactly what he said. I hear you. Got some things coming. And I remember that. I remember that to this day. Because he was like, I hear you, got some things coming. And the fact that he said that made me think about, wow, okay, they do have something. So when the rumors of Scorpio came out, I was like, oh my God, like this is it. This is what he was talking about. And remember when we were at E3 and we were talking about the Xbox One S, and that guy who was drunk as hell kept telling us Microsoft had something huge. He was mad drunk, son. He was literally trying to spill everything. He was like, I'm going to tell you. No, I can't tell you. I can't tell you. And we were saying it like, tell us what it is. Like, come on, man. He's like, no, I can't tell you, man. I'll get in trouble, man. It was so funny. He was so drunk. We probably could have got all types of secrets out of him. But the Xbox One Scorpio at the end of the Microsoft conference in 2016. So I don't think they're going to release another platform that's going to be looked at as a weak platform. They're going to try their best to be the most powerful console out there. And they realize that there's a market for a $499 console. They realize that there are going to be people out there that's going to go out of their way to buy the most powerful console on the market. And then there's going to be people out there that's going to be bargain bin. And I think going forward, they will have two platforms. One that will be $399 for the casual market, and one premium product for the most hardcore. And it'll be $499. So
I'm not sure about that. I think they'll try to do something similar, though. We talked about this last year, too, about I think what they'll end up doing is when the next Xbox is ready to roll, they'll just kind of say, okay, and by that time, the Scorpio or the X will be cheaper, significantly cheaper. And so what they'll do is they'll treat the X like they did the Xbox One S. Hey, you want the cheap option this holiday? Go get the X.
Right, my bad. That's right. The Xbox One X will be the $499 console or the $350 console, and the new console will be $499. But I don't think they'll ever go below $499 because they want the latest and most powerful parts in that platform going forward to make it. I think Microsoft likes having the power advantage, and they like banking on that, and it really helps them as far as it. The reason why I'm saying it helps them the most is because they don't have worldwide appeal, so they need an advantage to make sure that they have an advantage with when it comes to third party. Like, we're not going to get every third party game. I think that's just absolutely a reality because of Japan. They're not going to get every third party game. Every third party company is not going to want to work with them for whatever reason. But if you have a platform that no matter what, people could look like, yo, I'm going to get Witcher 4 or Anthem or this on Xbox because it looks amazing in comparison to PlayStation or Nintendo Switch, then I think that's where they have a market. They just need to build a first party that can then support that as well. And that will put them in a prime position to continue to stay relevant and continue to stay profitable as a business and as a division going forward. That's what I really think. And that's why I think they'll continue to put out the most powerful hardware going forward around 2021. Because it's going to take about 3 to 4 years for these Ryzen chips and all this AMD stuff to drop in price. to a reasonable price where you can mass purchase and put like really good hardware in there. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens with that. I think that's it though for tonight. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think we have any other questions. Fastback just asked real quick. You guys buying the new Duke controllers in March? Anybody buying a Duke?
How much are they? Do we know?
$69.
Nah, I'll pass. I'll stick with
I'll
the
think
new
about
controller.
it. I'll think about it.
You know, I never liked the Duke ever.
Yeah, me either.
I was a PlayStation fanboy back in the day on PS2. So I looked at that thing like it was a goddamn turtle shell. I was like, this is a turtle. That thing was huge to me after playing on PS2. I was like, yo, this thing is huge. You could kill somebody with this controller. Like, it just was bulbous for no reason. I hated it. You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't that bad if you
think
came from
about it,
Dreamcast, but it was still bad.
Nah, it was. Because I had the Dreamcast. You know why? The Dreamcast controller was thin as hell.
Yeah, it was.
Like, it was wide, but it was really thin because it had no battery pack and nothing in it. You just plug it up.
Right.
And then you had the VMD, the little mini game cartridge that would go in it and give you that little like LCD screen or whatever it was back in the day. Not LCD, but you know, that little digital screen. So it was really thin. And then you think about the PlayStation 2 controller was really small and light. SNES controller was small. Genesis controller was small. Like it was Japan. Everything Japanese was small. Then here come America with this controller that should be in like, you know, Clue as a murder weapon. You know what I'm saying? It was huge, bro. I hated that controller. When they came out with the S, I was so happy, bro. Like, oh my God, finally a controller I can play with and stuff. So them bringing it back. Some people love it. Americans have big hands. You know, we're larger people. No disrespect to Japan, but that's just the truth. On average, we're just bigger people with bigger hands. So I can understand why a lot of people are excited for it. But the only thing I like about it is the fact that it's got 6 buttons on the front. It's got that black and white, those extra buttons. So that's pretty dope if you play like a fighting game. But it's got that dumbass cross pad like it was back in the day. Xbox cross pads are the worst. It's like they're born with them. It's just genetic, bro. It's like genetics for the cross pad. They can't get the cross pad right, except for on like the Elite controller or something like that. But yeah. So listen, man, that's it for tonight's show. I want to thank everybody for stopping out. Very grateful for the support. Make sure you tune in next week for another episode of the Inner Circle podcast, the premier podcast for Xbox. We are definitely going to make a concerted effort this year to try to reach out to as many developers, executives, and personalities as possible to get them on the show. Tough year last year because, you know, we built this network and we've implemented all these other podcasts that complement us and kind of give everybody a little something with Iron Lords and 2XP and Multiverse. And then we have the website, which is basically the home for everything. And, you know, we're trying to keep that going and keep that, you know, in the right direction. So that way we can continue to survive and do the things that we're doing and be successful and a great place for news and information for you guys. Because I know there's a lot of podcasts out there that might not give you the information you want. That's just mostly jokes, entertainment, or just hating or whatever. And we try to give you something different. So make sure you tune in for another episode of Tick Podcast next week at 10 p.m. Eastern. I will be returning with my final episode of Super Pod Shots and closing that show out before I move on to my new Xbox show on my new channel called The Last Son of Planet Xbox, episode 1. Very excited about that. And then, of course, I'll be doing a few other shows like my anime shows and stuff like that. So keep an eye out for that when the Last Son Network starts up. And then on this channel, what we plan to do is put a bigger focus on Tick Podcast, Multiverse, 2XP, and Iron Lord podcast, put a bigger emphasis on those podcasts so people know where they are, and as well as do more video content within TICGN. We have so many people going towards video content, whether it's video reviews, whether it's playthroughs, tips and tricks, and stuff like that. So we really want to put a focus on that with our team and all of our content creators and stuff like that, and put some of that content up that you can see and get here. So make sure you tune in for all of that. And we'll continue to be a great place to play, to get balanced news, information, entertainment, and hear things for Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, and PC. So, and of course, movies and comics. And I don't want to leave that out because Anchorman does a great job with multiverse. So again, I want to thank everybody once again, man, for stopping out. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and share. Make sure you head over to ticgn.com and support. Save it in your browser, save it in your phone. You know, every view helps, man. It really keeps us going, and we are grateful for everybody that supports us. So I'm your host, Kelroy SKL, the last son of Planet Xbox, with Anchorman V and B Money 101, and we are off this planet. You guys have a great night. Peace.